The Steelers' defense will be owning the trenches, as that's just going to be a continual theme throughout this video, with their first advantage being Baltimore has good pass protection, but the Steelers have great pass rush. So there is levels to the quality of the teams. The Steelers are so dangerous because they just have so many edge rushers in particular they can throw at you, be it the initial wave of Watt and Highsmith, or Herbig, or Preston Smith. That's just some of their guys. And they have some interior players as well that aren't quite as good, but Larry Ogunjobi can contribute. There's more players there than just Benton and Hayward. The next advantage for the Steelers is that they control the run game as well defensively, as the Ravens have a lacking run blocking, and that's really going to be pronounced against the elite Steelers run defense. So they're going to be one dimensional, and that's going to be a bit less of an effective offense as a result. The next advantage is a specific matchup that I really like, and I think you'll understand why as soon as I mention his name. TJ Watt, he's pretty good if you haven't heard of him. He's very balanced as he is elite as a run defender and pass rusher, and he's going against a weak link tackle in the below average run blocking and average pass protecting Roger Rosengarten. Roger is not horrible, but he is very much still a rookie that just has not refined his craft as much as he's going to in his career. So he's going to be at a disadvantage against the seasoned TJ Watt, who isn't at a disadvantage against him after all. That's just a little bit unfair that Roger has to go against TJ so early on in his career. The final advantage for the defensive line of the Steelers is the specific matchup of the gem Cameron Hayward, who is a great run defender and star pass rusher, who is superior to the meh Baltimore interior offensive line. They are kind of like the heartbeat of the line as a whole, as they are poor in run blocking and good in pass protection. So they are not spectacular. They have their strength, obviously. They're not below average in both regards, but you need to really be good as a pass protector to be able to slow down Cam Hayward, who is just at a completely different level this year than almost any other defensive tackles in the league. He is arguably the best pass rusher and arguably the best run defender from the interior this year. I would say that Dexter Lawrence, Sexy Dexy as he's known, is the better run defender, but it's very close. And Cam is, I would say, pretty solidly a better pass rusher, even though Lawrence is a very good pass rusher as well. The final advantage for the Steelers as a whole is that they have a good tight end in Pat Freiermuth against a very mid Malik Harrison. He's just whatever. He can thump in the run game. He's not good in coverage. He is a bit problematic as a result. That can also be something that Darnell Washington can attack, is Harrison, as Washington is actually pretty solid as a receiver this year. So that's going to be something that the Steelers can go after, is Harrison. As we shift to the Ravens, if you're enjoying this video, make sure you like and subscribe, as both make massive differences, and I'm going to be pushing out NFL and college football content. With that out of the way, the biggest advantage for the Ravens, as you could probably imagine, is one that is arguably not an advantage because of how the Steelers have been successful against him so far in his career, but I'm still riding with him. It is Tier 1 Lamar Jackson versus Tier 2 Russell Wilson. The way I arrive to these tiers is by evaluating them in 4 advanced analytic metrics and combining that into one score. So there's a little bit of a difference between the two. Wilson has been very good this year, surprisingly so. He's bounced back at a crazy level. But Lamar is right there in contention for MVP. So there's kind of a difference between the two. The next advantage is that there is a solid receiving option for Lamar and Rashad Bateman going against a lacking Dante Jackson, who is terrible in man coverage and plays it 33% of the time. So that's a bit worrisome for the Steelers' defense. He's just not going to be able to match up with a superior receiving option than what Jackson is as a cornerback. And very similarly, we have quality Zay Flowers, who's better than Bateman, in my opinion. I don't think that's a hot take whatsoever. I think almost everybody would agree with that. I just wanted to clarify that because I had Flowers listed after Bateman, though. Flowers, he is superior to the bad Joey Porter Jr., who is also horrible in man coverage. And again, the Steelers are playing him in man coverage 33% of the time. So that's not great. And what is also not great for the Steelers is that the Ravens have a good tight end in Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely. I'll throw him in with this same advantage. And he's going against a poor coverage and run defending, basically anything that isn't pass rushing, Patrick Queen. Queen has really been a dud. He was brought in on a big money deal and just has not played up to it whatsoever. So that's going to be problematic for the Steelers, is that there are 2 tight ends the Steelers or Ravens can throw at the Steelers, and both of which are very good route runners and are capable blockers as well. And shifting to the defense now, the Steelers have poor pass blocking versus a solid Baltimore pass rush defense. That's a bit of a mismatch because the Ravens don't have a great pass rush, but they have solid edge with Owe, and their interior is pretty good as well with some big boys that can push the pocket. Michael Pierce being one of the big examples of that. Travis Jones also. The next advantage for the Ravens is also on the defensive line side of things, with a good Steelers run blocking unit against a star Ravens run defense. Again, there are just levels to being good, and the Steelers have a good run defense or run offense for sure, but it's not good enough to go against what is arguably the best run defense in the league with, again, Pierce and Jones and Madubuike. Madubuike is also a great pass rusher. I forgot to mention him. So there are some real options. You also have Cal Van Noy as a pass rusher. So there are lots of options for the Ravens, and they're all pretty solid for pass rushing, and then they can defend the run with the best of them. The next advantage for the Ravens is the aforementioned Cal Van Noy. He's above average, and he's going to be going against a below average Broderick Jones. That's going to be problematic. Jones is super disappointing to this point, I would say, as he has all the talent in the world physically, but he is just not put it together. And I know he's not playing at his preferred left tackle position, but I'm not sure that that's going to be the difference between you playing at a very high level versus being almost terrible, very bad. So yeah, I think that's something that is an issue, but not his biggest one. Next, we have Travis Jones versus a mid-interior offensive line. Jones is going to be able to defend the run at a high level, as he always does, but he's also going to be able to push the pocket because Isaac Samalu is good, but not elite, I wouldn't say. And Frazier is good, but he's not great against the pass, or great as a pass protector, I should say. So there are some issues for the Steelers there on the inside. The next advantage is that they have a mediocre, this is so funny to me. The Ravens have a mediocre Nate Wiggins, and he's going against a lacking Van Jefferson. So that's advantageous for the Ravens to not have, or to have a not so good corner and still be better than the receiver up against him, just because Van Jefferson is so poor. A more logical advantage is that the Ravens have a great cornerback in Marlon Humphrey versus an average Calvin Austin, which makes sense. Humphrey is very good. He can play in the slot, which that's how this matchup will transpire. Austin is a slot receiver. And Austin will really struggle to get past Humphrey, who's very physical and very nimble, very fast, just very athletically imposing as a whole. He is very good. Austin, he's not so much as capable as Humphrey is. He's not bad, but I'd say he is roughly average. The final advantage for the Ravens is that they have home field advantage, which isn't a huge deal, but it's better to have it than to not. So, with all of this said, I'm leaning, as you could probably imagine, there's more advantages for them by a pretty fair amount. I'm leaning the Ravens here. Not only are they home, I think they're overall the better team with the better quarterback, and they're just more impressive to me as a whole. They have similar advantages on the defensive line that the Steelers do. They don't have nearly anywhere close, I want to stress that, as good of a defensive line as the Steelers do, but the Ravens have a better offensive line, so it's a better offensive line versus a better defensive line, which kind of cancels each other out a little bit. So I think that the Ravens have advantages there, and then they have more advantages offensively with the quarterback situation and receiver play versus some really poor defensive backs. Those are my thoughts on the game. Be sure to let me know what yours are in the comment section. Also, be sure to like and subscribe for more football content.